Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Schmattz Outdoors. What we're doing today, I'm out here, I'm going to show you how I put up a raccoon. We're going to go all the way. I got a raccoon here, a little one. We're going to show you how I skin a raccoon, the equipment I use to do it. This could be a 3-part series of this. So the first one's going to be skinning the raccoon. The second one's going to be flushing the raccoon, and the third one's going to be putting the raccoon up, putting him on a stretcher and that type of stuff, the finished prep work on him. So to begin with here, I'm just going to show you what I use to do all that, and then we'll get into actually skinning him. And then like I said, the second video here will be fleshing him, and then the third video will be putting him on a stretcher. Alright, so what I use, I have a table here. It is based off of FHA's beaver table, so it's 4 foot long, 32 inches wide. I have a piece of plexiglass on there just to keep it clean. I actually modified it. I have bolt-on legs, so I can actually take it into my basement, and that's where I do a lot of my fur finishing work, you know, the fleshing and boarding. I do it in the wintertime down in my basement instead of when I'm skinning. I like blue shop rags to wipe up any blood or anything like that. I use Semper Force gloves. I use them for everything, including making coyote sets and that type of stuff. They're scent free, powder free, everything like that. They fit me good. They're a tough, durable glove. I can skin all day in one glove. Once in a great while I'll tear one, and then I'll have to put just a single back on. I use a utility knife with a hook blade in there, like a shingle cutting blade. I have for years. I use this for opening up my critters. This is a tail knife for splitting the tail. This is a homemade tail stripper I made. It's got 5 different holes. I pretty much have used every one of the holes depending on the animal. Raccoons, a lot of times it's the biggest hole. That's a 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/8, quarter, and this one's 3/16. Mink are usually like a 1/4 inch. Coyotes are can be either one of the two, the bigger ones. But for raccoons, it's almost always the bigger one, or once in a great while the smaller one, you know, a 1/2 inch one or a 3/4, and it's just a split. So basically I can pinch it on. I like this better than a lot of the ones you can buy, just because it's a little bit longer and I can get good grip on it. You know, one hand holding the animal, the other one holding this. I use a 4-inch fillet knife, just a Rappo brand fillet knife. You can use any fillet knife you want. I've used this for years. I've had very good luck with it. I keep it sharp. It's easy to sharpen. I have a ceramic stone that I use. I usually do about 2 raccoons before I touch up my knife again. I just have a dog comb, a fairly aggressive dog comb here, to comb any birds or anything like that, mud or debris out. I got my quick pins right here. I just keep them in a jar. They're easy to take care of. I take the lid off. I dump some in the lid, you know, and those are the ones I use so they don't spill all over. I use a Necker 600 fleshing knife. The sharp side I do touch up probably once a year. At the beginning of the year I touch that up. Otherwise the dull side I never touch. To hold my raccoons, I like a chain gambrel. I added a swivel on the top of it. I like this just the way I open my animals up. Some guys like an actual, you know, metal gambrel that like pokes into the legs. You know, if you catch a raccoon in the coyote set and sometimes their leg is broke or stuff like that, then those do not work all that well. This will pretty much hold on to anything. If you have trouble pulling the tail out too, you know, you can tie this just around the tail and it'll hold the tail so you can pull the tail out. And then what I have is I put a lag bolt. It's about 9 foot up, and then this is just a deer lifting hoist. I bought it at like Fleet Farm, which is just a fleet store here. And with the snap, what I do is I'll put this on my animal and then just pick them up and clip them on. And then it's adjustable. You just pull the rope, you know, and I'll move them up and down as that move them up and down as I'm working here. All right, that about concludes what I use. We'll get you guys set up. We'll get my camera set up and we'll grab a raccoon here and we'll start skinning this guy for you. All right, guys, so I got my raccoon here. Just a little guy. He's like last year's young of the year, or this year's young of the year, I guess. So it's only, this would be this year's raccoon, so he's less than a year old there. So what I'm gonna do before I do anything, what I typically do is I'll just run my hand around on the whole raccoon and just see, you know, he's got a little bit of dirt in him, but I mainly want to see if there's any burrs in him. So I'm just looking for any burrs. I was hoping he'd have one in him so I could show you what that looks like. All right, so I'm not finding any burrs, which actually isn't too uncommon for the raccoons in my area. And then I'm still gonna take this comb and I'm gonna brush him out good. You can see how it kind of straightens him up a little bit. He's got just a little bit of kind of dirt on him. And if there was happen to be a burr, now is the time I want to get my burrs out. If there's happen to be a burr in him, I want to know now before I get him on my fleshing beam. So it looks like a real nice, you know, for a young of the year raccoon, he looks pretty nice. You know, sometimes they can get real, he is a little wiry kind of on his butt, but he don't look too terrible here. All right, you can see I pull the little hair out. I just pull this off of there, throw it in my garbage pail. All right, when I first catch a raccoon, almost always I will weigh them in the bed of my truck. This guy's soft, but I will weigh them just like that. So as they get rigor mortis, they actually are already setting just like that. And the reason why is because this is how I want them when I am starting to skin them. All right, well, here's my tool of choice. I used to go and I used to wring the front legs, and I wring them real low, like down on the ankle down here. I got away from that, and I'll show you what I do now. But yeah, I basically just take this, go around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start on one back leg here. I basically just hook, you know, I'm usually about an inch from like the bottom of the fur. I don't want to be like, I don't want this white fur. So I'm just going to hook it in, and I'm pushing down with my knife, and then I'm going to twist the foot with my other hand here. So I just hook it in, twist, and cut. And you can see it cuts it right open. And then what I do is I take my knife under, hook it into that same spot, and then I'm going to twist, and I'm pulling up and cutting. So there you go. That one is cut all the way around. We're going to do the same thing on this side. So I just hook it in. And then we'll cut back the other way. Not sure if I got the very back there. Okay, so I got both of the ankles wrung. Then what I do is I turn this guy, make sure you can see. So I just pull that leg. I start right on the back of the heel. Right here's the heel. And I just hook my knife in where I cut. And I kind of give it a little jerk. And what that does is it kind of starts the opening. And then I go right above either the testicles on a male or right above the vent on a female. And I pull across. When I get just past midway, now I'm going to straighten this leg out. And I'm going to pull right to the heel on that side. And you can see how that opened him up all the way across real nice. Okay. And that's all I'm going to use that knife for. Then I take my fillet knife here. And you can see here's the vent. We're going to take my knife and I'm going to start where I just cut across, poke my knife in, and you can see how I'm poked right next to the vent there. I'm going to push down on the tail and poke my knife out and slit up. So now that side's cut open. Okay, we'll move my arm. So you can see here's the end of my knife. I'm right on the side. We're just going to poke it out and cut up. Okay, so that opens that up nice. A lot of times what I like to do is I like to grab that and I give it about 2 strokes with the knife, just so I'm cut, like that flap's open and this flap's open. So that's basically what a lot of guys like to call the money cut. Some guys will cut it way back here, and that's not what they want. They want it basically just, you can kind of see the difference in fur. See, this fur is a lot different than this fur, and I'm basically cutting right on the line between the two of them. Okay, and then I take around on both sides. So what I'm doing, I just pinch the hair and I'm kind of peeling it back, pushing with these fingers on the leg, and that kind of makes it pop out. And I'm kind of cutting. I'm going to go all the way around that leg until that's loose. We're going to do the same thing on this side. It's a little awkward to do it while I'm showing you guys, but all right, so both sides are up. I'm going to take my chain gambrel here. So it starts off straight. I just drop it through, and then it makes a nice loop, and then I just slide it over their foot and pull it tight. Do the same thing on this side, just drop it through. I've shortened the chain up, that's why it's dangling like that. I shortened it up just because I can pull my critters up a touch higher. All right, so now I got both sides on there. We're going to reset up here a little bit and I'll show you how I get him hanging on my hoist system, and then we'll commence the skinning him. All right, we're ready to hang him up here. So I just bring him over, and then I just hook him in that snap, and there we go. So he's hooked there, he's hanging here, he's nice and opened up, ready for me to do the finishing cuts on him. All right, so what I'm gonna do is right here where my 2 cuts next to his vent here meet, I'm gonna poke my knife through right above the tailbone, pull that out, and then what I'm doing is I'm kind of pulling the hair around the sides here, and then I'm gonna cut right down the middle of the tail. See that, open that up, and then I just take and I kind of pinch that, make a cut, and I'm kind of cutting more at the tail than I am, I'm almost cutting straight to the side than I am doing anything else. And what that does is it opens up real nice. Now we're going to reach up, we're going to grab the leg here, the hide. I'm going to grab kind of the 2 corners. I'm basically just kind of pinching it like that, and we're going to rip down that side. You see it pulled by cutting this out a little bit, it helps pull it past a little bit. Do the same thing on this side. What I'm trying to do is I cut that leg a little bit more than I should have, but all right, pull down, grab both sides of the tail and pull down. All right, we're ready to cut around the tail, so I'm going to just grab the hair, pull down, make a slice on this side of the tail, make a slice on this side of the tail, and you see I cut through. Now I kind of put right under the tailbone there. I'm going to cut towards the body and kind of pull down. And by pulling down, it kind of peeled this, but it also peeled the tail back. And then I basically am just gonna go like this around the tail, and I'm gonna cut that little bit of membrane right where the 2 meet. And then I'm ready for my tail stripper, which I keep in my pocket of these bibs I'm wearing. Slide it on again. I probably could use either the biggest hole or the smallest hole. This isn't the biggest tail, but I'm going to use the biggest hole. And like I said, I like it because it's big enough I can get both hands. It's pinched tight, and I'm just going to apply constant pressure and then rock just a little bit. And what that does, it pulls it right out of there. So I just rocked and it pushed it right out. Now we're going to pull the tail at me here. And then we're going to hook my tail splitting knife right in that hole, and then we're going to just kind of pull down right out to the end, and that split the tail all the way right to the end. Okay, we're going to turn our Raccoon around. We're onto the front side, the belly side here. I'm kind of pulling out so he's at a little bit of an angle, and then down at the same time. And by pulling out, it tightens all this membrane up here. Makes it easy to know that you're cutting the membrane and not the hide. And I don't cut a whole lot, just a little bit of the membrane. Make sure the back is cut. Okay. Now that's about all the cutting I need to do for quite a while here. So what I do is I'm just going to roll the fur up, so I'm kind of gripping it like this. And then I'm just going to pull down. And I basically just pulled that whole belly all the way down. On the back, we're going to kind of roll it up here. So now I'm grabbing the actual hair I can grip. If I try to grab it like this, it's slimy because it's a raccoon. You can't grip. So just by rolling this up, I can grip really good. And then we're going to just pull down. Okay? And by wearing these rubber rain suit, essentially, I don't care if they get dirty, I can rinse them off. So I'm grabbing right by the base of the tail. And then I'm going to just take my knee. Make sure I got a good grip. Put my knee right on there, and I'm just going to kind of lean a little weight on it until I get right to that point. You can see where it pulled right to the front shoulders on both sides. We're going to use my hoist up here. We're going to pull them up. Just like that. Now I'm working right at arm height again. We're going to take my finger here right where this crease kind of is. You can kind of see the light through there right here. We're going to just kind of poke my finger like this, and it will poke right through there. So now I got a hole. I just pull down a little. I'm going to put one hand in like this. The other hand's going to grab the leg, and I'm just going to basically pull my two arms apart. And see, and it pulled that entire leg all the way out. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I just poked my fingers right through, pulled down just a little so I can get my hand in there, and pulled the leg all the way right out. Then we're going to take my knife. I want to leave as much of this leg on as I possibly can, because I use this when I'm fleshing. Some guys will cut up here so you don't have to trim it when you're putting them onto the board. I like to leave as much leg, so I'm going to kind of cut out and at me here. There's one leg. So I'm cutting down and out. Oh, I got a toe in there. There we go. So there's my legs, they're all completely out. So you usually can kind of, I'm just grabbing the pelt, squeezing all the way around it here. You can see my thumb. And I'm just going to kind of lean and push down. And that pulls it all nice and tight. Now I'm going to pull down and at me. So the weight of the raccoon's kind of pulling away from me here. And that helps me hold this a little better. And then I'm going to just cut right here, right on the edge of where you can kind of tell this is hide, this is meat. I'm going to kind of cut right on the edge of those two. And I usually try to go all the way around one good time here. At the same time, this hand I'm pulling down on the pelt to keep it pulled taut. All right, so now I'm going to get a good handful, and I'm going to kind of cut just like this. And then do it again on this side. And then I'm going to grab the whole thing, pull down. You can see how that really stretched this tight. I'm going to cut through that again here. All right. See this little bulb right here? That kind of sticks out there. And this one's not showing up as good. There it is, right here. That's the ear. So I actually want to cut back about that far. I don't want to cut way back here because you leave the entire ear, but I also don't want to cut here and cut too much of the ear off. So I like to cut right in the middle. So I'm kind of holding the head, pulling at me with this hand. So I'm going to grab, kind of hold at me so I could push down. And I push pretty hard, and I'm going to make one long kind of sleeping slice. And see how I pretty much cut the whole ear wide open. And then we're going to do the same thing. Again, I'm kind of squeezing the head and holding out at me. And I'm going to push, make a nice slice. And that one, it cut the entire ear. Then by cutting that far, then I can put my finger in the ear and pull. And then again, I'm just kind of cutting the membrane. Again, put my finger in that ear, pull. around the side of the face. And we'll go back to this side. Again, the side of the face. Right here is going to be the eye. So it's directly in front of the ear, kind of on this little ridge. Right here is the eye, so I'm going to keep pulling with my finger down. And we're going to kind of cut at the head here. So there's your eye. There's the eye hole. Again, it's right in line with this little kind of ridge. See, and at the same time, see how it kind of cut the side of the mouth open? Then I actually will take my finger and put it right in there and cut and pull down at the same time. This side it didn't cut it open, so I'll cut that. Okay. Now I'll actually just grab the whole thing and pull down a little. What that does, it gets it nice and tight. The lower jaw here, just kind of cut around. The lower jaw is off, so I basically just kind of cut around the end of the lower jaw. These are the whiskers right here. You basically just got to cut them off on both sides. And we're getting right to the nose here. And you got to leave, there's quite a bit of cartilage. It comes like way down to here. It comes like way down to here. So you got to kind of cut around and around and pull and get it down that far. So I'm just kind of lightly cutting and pulling. I'm pulling more than I'm cutting actually. Until I get to about a certain point here. And I'm just about there. Alright. So now you can see how this turned black. That's the actual end of the nose. So I want to go just above this black. And I'm going to cut. I'm going to make one fast swipe and cut kind of up this direction. One fast cut. Oh, didn't quite cut it all. And there we go. There's your nose cut off. There's the entire raccoon completely skinned. So I just stuck my arm up the middle of it here. There's one raccoon ready to flesh. Alright, what I'll do now is basically I just take this guy down, take him off of there, and I just make a pile out of him. He'll be ready for the next animal. Again, here's the nice pelt. I mean, for a young of the year raccoon, he looks like he's in pretty good shape. Again, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. This is just part 1 of the raccoon series here. There's going to be part 2 is going to be fleshing. Part 3 is going to be putting them on the board and getting all trimmed up, ready to basically dry and ready to sell. I appreciate you guys watching. Hit the thumbs up on this video if you like what I showed you. Leave comments if you couldn't see stuff real good or you want to see something else. Leave comments below and I'll try and either answer your questions or down the road, make a little video to show you if I missed something. Hit the subscribe button so you know when the fleshing and boarding videos are going to come out, and there'll be a few other animals coming out this summer as well. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching Schmattz Outdoors.